DreamWorks Kung Fu Panda.
In the fantastical land of Kung Fu Panda, the real showstoppers aren't the heroes. They're the villains. They've got the kind of childhood trauma that makes therapists rub their hands together in anticipation, and egos so big they could probably apply for their own zip codes. Most of you only know 4 of the villains in the franchise, but what if I told you there are actually 19? So come on, folks, as we take a journey through the evolution of these spectacular villains. Tai Lung the Snow Leopard is the main antagonist in the first film. Once upon a time, he was Shifu's star student, the golden child, and the ultimate overachiever. But like any good melodrama, things went south and Tai Lung had his heart set on that dragon scroll. But wise old Oogway sniffed out the darkness in him. Oogway denied him the scroll, and he threw the mother of all tantrums, ravaging the Valley of Peace. Naturally, he ended up in prison, where he had plenty of time to brood, work out, and plot his inevitable comeback. And comeback he did, with all the fury of someone who's been holding a grudge for way too long. But instead of facing the dragon warrior of his dreams, he ends up squaring off against Po, the pudgy panda who looked more like a couch potato than a kung fu master. Let's just say it didn't go well for Mr. Leopard. But hey, even the best villains have their off days. He returns in Kung Fu Panda 4 when the chameleon summons him from the spirit realm and steals his fighting skills. But here's the kicker. After all the chameleon drama, Tai Lung cooled off and realized maybe, just maybe, Oogway was onto something. He let go of his dragon warrior dreams, chilled out in the spirit realm, and even gave Po a respectful nod. In the end, Tai Lung found a weird sort of peace. Then there is the Kung Fu Panda, Legend of Awesomeness series. The antagonists in this show turn every showdown into a slapstick spectacle, proving that in this world, being bad is a full-time job in hilarity. Feng Huang, once the big shot of the former Furious 5, thought she could take down Oogway. She was wrong, very wrong. After losing, she flew off to sulk in the northern mountains, plotting her revenge like a bad movie villain. Every time she tried to take down the Jade Palace, she ended up back in Chorgom prison on a get-busted-quick plan. Pang Bing is the ultimate blink and you'll miss her. She pops up in the 2-part episode Emperor's Rule, probably to remind us that even in a world of kung fu masters and talking animals, there's still room for minor characters with big attitudes. Kepa was the top demon in the underworld, wreaking havoc across China like a toddler on a sugar rush. But then young Oogway came along and decided to play superhero, defeating Kepa and his demon pals. Oogway was totally wiped out after the battle, and just as Kepa was about to deliver the finishing blow, the sacred peach tree intervened like a divine bouncer, kicking him out of the underworld and into the body of a very disgruntled mortal pig. Kepa, now more ham than dragon, swore revenge and ran off, probably to find a new wardrobe. Scorpion, also known as Cheong-Chi, is exactly what you'd expect. A villainous, venomous scorpion. So far, she's shown up in Scorpion's Sting and Love Stings. Scorpion was once the Valley of Peace's top healer, but after stinging herself with a mind-bending elixir, she went from healer to villain, delighting in mind control and mayhem. Mei Ling is like the ex you hope never shows up at your door. Only in this case, she's a rogue kung fu master and Shifu's ex. She waltzed in as the main antagonist in the episode Shifu's Ex, probably just to remind him that breaking up with her was the best decision he'd ever made. Heilang is the leader of Lin Kuei. He made his debut in the episode The Secret Museum of Kung Fu, proving that even in a world of kung fu masters, a bad guy can still find a way to make a museum heist look like a bad Saturday morning cartoon plot. Bad Po, or Evil Po, if you're feeling particularly dramatic, created by the mystical mirror of Yin and Yang, tried to take over the Jade Palace with Feng and his croc bandits, proving that evil plans and bad fashion choices often go hand in hand. But his big plan hit a snag when Good Po made him look in the mirror, forcing him to face the harsh reality that even villains can't escape their own reflection. Feng is the croc with a knack for villainy. He leads a band of croc bandits who seem to have missed the memo that crocodiles don't make the best heist crew. They first slithered into the scene in The Princess and the Po, managing to snatch Princess Mei Li's stuff before Po, Tigress, and Mantis showed up and ruined their day. Bai Li is like the ultimate sidekick you never knew you needed and Quan's loyal and slightly dodgy assistant. In the episode Has Been Hero, she's the one helping Quan pull off a major cheating scheme to claw his way back to the spotlight. Because apparently, being a has-been isn't as glamorous as it sounds. Bian Zhao is the ultimate teen sidekick in Kung Fu Panda, knee-deep in daddy issues and world domination schemes. As the son of Taodi, Bian Zhao tags along with his dad's wild plans to ditch Kung Fu in favor of robots and get some sweet revenge on Shifu. He made his grand debut in Sticky Situation, where his dad got roped into fixing the training hall he originally helped build. Then Kung Fu Panda 2 came around. Boss Wolf, the secondary villain in Kung Fu Panda 2, is Lord Shen's personal furry henchman, military mastermind, and right-hand hunter. He and his wolf pack were once palace guards in Gongmen City and were friends with the young Prince Shen. Later on, he pledges his loyalty to Shen, even helping him with a brutal attack on a panda village. During the attack, he was scarred by a panda father and later chased the surviving villagers with Shen. After being banished, along with Shen due to their actions, he continued to serve him, robbing villages and fighting Po, the dragon warrior. Despite his efforts, he was repeatedly thwarted by Po and the Furious Five. Eventually, he was ordered to fire on his own soldiers by Shen. He hesitated, leading to Shen killing him for his defiance and taking over the cannon himself. Lord Shen, the frail little albino coward and heir to the Gongmen throne, is hands down the most sadistic villain of the Kung Fu Panda franchise. He's a peacock prince with a flair for the dramatic, dreaming of world domination using fireworks turned into cannons. Because why just celebrate when you can obliterate? Motivated by a prophecy that he'll be beaten by a black and white warrior, he decides to go on a panda slaughtering spree, even being responsible for the murder of Po's mom, his evil deeds leading to Po being adopted by Mr. Ping. With a personality mix of a megalomaniac and a sadistic show-off, he's known for his love of over-the-top villainy, like exterminating pandas and offing his own minions, including poor Boss Wolf, for not following orders. Yet, in a twist that shows he's not entirely heartless, he spares the soothsayer, proving he's capable of having a soft spot. Shen's life is a continuous act of paranoia and cowardice. Overhearing his supposed destiny sends him on a genocidal spree to avoid a prophecy, and his idea of a fair fight is more cowardly cannonball than heroic showdown. Despite this, Shen's genius shines through his rather twisted inventions, like turning fireworks into weapons of destruction. In his final act of defiance, he stands under his collapsing battle cannon like a drama queen, accepting his fate with a dramatic flourish. General Kai, also known as the Collector, and not the kind who charges your credit card, is the big bad of Kung Fu Panda 3. He used to be Oogway's close companion, but things went south when he discovered a new hobby: stealing chi. After this went a bit too far, Oogway kicked him out to the spirit realm. For 500 years, Kai became the world's most annoying chi thief, turning every kung fu master he met in the spirit realm into zombies. Basically, zombie kung fu experts with a serious attitude problem. After nabbing Oogway's chi and returning to the mortal realm, Kai went on a chi-stealing spree, hoping to erase Oogway's legacy. Kai then headed to the Panda village, where Po attempted the Wuxi finger hold to send Kai packing back to the spirit realm. Unfortunately, the move only made things worse, and both ended up back in the spirit realm for a rematch. Po and his friends teamed up, using their chi like a power-up in a video game. The result? Kai overloaded on chi, exploded into a burst of light, and was defeated by his own greed. With Kai gone, all the stolen chi was returned, and the masters were revived, ready to roll. Big villain of Kung Fu Panda, Paws of Destiny, Season 1. Jindiao is your classic power-hungry dragon, with a god complex and a serious need for anger management. This guy's life goal? To bond with the wellspring and turn himself into a god. 1,000 years ago, he, being a power-hungry dragon with delusions of godhood, tried to merge with the wellspring, a cosmic pool full of chi, to rule everything. But his students, the four constellations, had other plans. They sacrificed themselves to split Jindiao's body from his soul. He eventually possessed a vulture, which is like going from a sports car to a rusty tricycle, and spent centuries pretending to be a monk. Fast forward to today, Jindiao discovers 4 pandas have inherited the hero chi of his old students. Cue evil laughter and failed kidnapping attempts as Po and the pandas repeatedly foil his grand comeback. Jindiao eventually reveals his dragon form, thinking he's back on top. But Po sends him packing to the spirit realm with the Wuxi finger hold, a fancy move that's basically the spiritual version of talk to the hand. Sir Alfred of Landreth starts off as the guy you think is going to save the day in Kung Fu Panda, the Dragon Knight. But plot twist, by the second half of Season 3, he's ditched the hero act and gone full-on villain. So instead of slaying dragons, he's now busy being the biggest thorn in everyone's side. Imagine if your favorite uncle suddenly decided to take over the world, and you've got Alfred in a nutshell. Klaus and Veruca Dumont, the not-so-cuddly British weasel siblings, are the main troublemakers in Kung Fu Panda, the Dragon Knight. These two slinky little villains decided that world domination was the perfect sibling bonding activity, so they hightailed it to China to hunt down the 4 Tianshang weapons. Why? Because nothing says we love power. Clearly, family fun means something very different to these two. Klaus and Veruca, who grew up as pickpockets after losing their parents, for Alfred ended her life when she lost control. Following her death, Mage Island froze over, and Klaus, shunned by the mages, eventually joined Po and the Dragon Knights to destroy the Tianshang weapons. After nearly being captured by a zombified Veruca, Klaus was rescued and continued to fight alongside the heroes to prevent further destruction. Meet the Chameleon, the pint-sized powerhouse and main villain of Kung Fu Panda 4. You'd think a sorceress who can shapeshift and steal spiritual chi would have better things to do. But nope, she's out here on a mission to prove that size really does matter. Just not in the way you'd think. Back in the day, the Chameleon was just another Kung Fu wannabe, getting laughed out of every school because, well, she was more gecko than dragon. After being kicked out one too many times, she decided to go all in on the dark arts. Shapeshifting? Check. Sorcery? Check. Surviving the streets like a Kung Fu version of Oliver Twist? Double check. She swore she'd become the most epic Kung Fu master ever, and if that meant turning herself into a one-lizard army, so be it. Fast forward a few years, and our scaly sorceress has gone full-on villain mode. She's taken over Juniper City, got the crime bosses paying her tribute like she's the godfather, and realized one tiny hiccup in her master plan. She can look like other Kung Fu masters, but she can't actually be them. Bummer, right? So what's a power-hungry lizard to do? Steal their chi, of course. She snags Po's Staff of Wisdom and goes on a chi-stealing spree, targeting all the Kung Fu greats in the spirit realm. But just when she thinks she's got it all figured out, Po and Jen show up to crash the party. After a classic Kung Fu showdown, she's dragged kicking and screaming into the spirit realm by none other than Tai Lung, proving once and for all that even the most cunning chameleons can't outrun karma. There you have it, folks, the evolution of our favorite villains. Be sure to like and subscribe, and as always, see you in the next video.